How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. And if you're new here, welcome here for the first time. I hope that after I'm finished talking, you will like the video that I've prepared for my review of the Mezco 1/12 Collective Shazam action figure. Secondarily, the reason why I'm making this short video before the action figure review is that after the review, there's a short 4.5-ish minute history lesson on Shazam, or as I know him still, Captain Marvel. It's part of a larger body of work that I may or may not be releasing that details the name Captain Marvel right from the first character to use it, which is the Big Red Cheese, the one that I'm a big fan of, and then it talks about the legal issues and then how Marvel legally has the name, and it goes into the Marvel versions of that character. The video is supposed to be released coinciding with the release of the Shazam movie, or possibly just a little bit before it. But as it stands, I don't really do my voiceovers in that style anymore. It's kind of dry, kind of slow. Not only that, it is a slightly controversial topic, and it gets people talking, yes, but it will also get people arguing. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to release the full body of work. So I figured, why not put that little tiny history lesson, at least for the Fawcett, then to become the DC version of the Captain. Put that at the end of the video for those who would like to check it out. So I guess that's it. Enjoy the review. And if you're going to stick around for the little history lesson, I hope you enjoy that too. Shazam! How's it going, super friends, and welcome to my channel. For today, we're going to be reviewing the 1/12 Collective Shazam action figure from Mezco. The packaging for this figure is a nice brilliant red color with golden lightning bolts flashed all over the sides and the front, just like any Shazam action figure's packaging should have, right? As well as logos for the company's 1/12 Collective line on the top of the box and on the sides as well. On the back of the packaging, we see more images of the action figure and also some of the accessories that you get on the inside of the package. Once you've slipped off the sleeve and flipped open the flap, on the inside you see a nice image of Shazam on the left, and then the window box that clearly displays the figure on the inside along with all of its accessories and extra heads and hands. And when you yoink him out of the box, this is what you get. Not a bad little haul in one packaging, if I do say so. That's a lot of stuff. Let's go through it. For one, you get the basic figure itself with the head that comes on the body along with the fists. And this is a really, really nice version of Shazam. The fabric for this suit is sewn together really nicely, there are no hanging threads, and all the details look really fabulous. So far, front to back, I'm very impressed and think this is a fabulous offering from Mezco to its DC fans. I think so far he's doing a fabulous job of looking the part of everyone's favorite classic Shazam. Shazam! The lightning bolt on his chest is nice and firm. It's a different piece of fabric, but it doesn't look like it's going to be peeling off anytime soon. The sash around his waist is sewn right to the costume itself, so you're not going to be losing that or having it fall off either. Also, if you peer inside the suit just a little bit, you can see that the front flap folds over the bottom flap, which is very cool, and it's a detail that they could have omitted, and they chose not to. Shazam's cape, which can come on and off with ease and is attached with a thin golden rope around his neck, is actually a wired cape, so that you can have flying and cape posability, which makes sense for a character like Captain Marvel, because he has a short little cape, and it's always flapping around in the breeze. The head sculpt for this figure looks very much like the classic Shazam character that I've come to know and love. It seems like they've taken all of the elements that people like myself would be familiar with and tried to incorporate them and smush them into one head sculpt, and I think it looks fabulous. So now that we've had a quick and initial look at the action figure itself, let's have a closer look at all of those accessories that this action figure comes with. For one, he comes with the 2 extra heads, the first one being the Shazam head with the eyes all white with lightning. And I think they've done an excellent job of capturing him mid-Shazam. And I suppose now would actually be a better place to introduce you to the great big blue lightning bolt that clips onto his chest as well, presumably when he's yelling Shazam. And then also, to my delight, they've included a smiling face with Shazam. That's the face of a guy who just cut the cheese silently, and it really stinks. And he knows it, and he knows that you haven't smelt it yet, but he knows you're going to. He also comes with a little tiny Mr. Mind, and I think they've done a fabulous job of capturing the basic look of this character. I don't want to look at him too long, because I'm afraid that I'm going to become his next victim of mind control. Stop it! Stop it! Ugh. But as you can see, Mr. Mind is not the only archenemy in the package. We also got the robotic head of Mr. Atom. And look it! He's got a fist mark in the side of his face. That's what happens when you come up against Shazam, Earth's mightiest mortal. You get punched in the face, and he leaves a fist mark in your face. Shazam also comes with extra hands. 2 for flight poses with the fingers outstretched, and then 2 with the hands kind of craned like he's yelling Shazam! Shazam also comes with this really cool red and yellow lightning bolt action figure stand with a foot peg that can be popped out and turned into a flight stand that grabs onto his waist so you can put him in cool looking poses like this, and also like this. And when you're finished with all the extra hands and heads, you can drop him in this here Ziploc bag and save him for later. Like a doggy bag full of action figure body parts. So far, between what you get and then the quality of what comes in the packaging, I'm pretty impressed with this figure. But let's take a look at the articulation. The articulation for this figure is going to be typical of all of the Mezco action figures in the DC line, with the head and neck both having articulation, being that of ball joints. You've got your shoulders, which are ball joints, and they can go all the way around, although the suit does get in the way of some of the articulation, but there's butterfly movement. You've also got rotation at the biceps, double jointed elbows, you have spinny, hingy wrists, you've got articulation in the chest with some movement, as well as articulation and rotation in the waist. You've got ball jointed groin, and you've also got articulation at the top of the leg. There's double jointed knees, and there's also rotation at the top of the boots. And finally, there's the ankles, which are ball jointed as well. Now for the size and scale portion of the video, I've actually brought on all of the rest of the Shazam figures that I own in my collection. From left to right, we have, albeit a gold repainted version of the Public Enemy's Shazam figure, and then we have the DC Direct Shazam figure that came from the Shazam action figure line. And then on his right, we have the DC Universe Classics version of Shazam, and then we have the DC Universe Classics Signature Series New 52 version. And then on the far right, we have the DC Collectibles New 52 version of Shazam. All of these figures are slightly different in their size and scale, and in some ways, he scales up the best with the Public Enemies version. And secondarily, here he is with some other Mezco 1/12 collectives, the Dark Knight Returns Batman, a modified Superman, and also the Green Arrow action figure. And then finally, I've got him placed alongside some of the Batman v Superman movie figures, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. And again, he sizes and scales well with both of those as well. So if you only have Cavill and Affleck, you can slot him in and take some pretty rad photos. So there you have it, my late to the game action figure review of the Mezco 1/12 Collective Shazam action figure. I love this figure. I think they've done a fabulous job bringing this character to life and doing the uniform and making this figure look every bit as classic as so many of us remember him. On a personal note, I still prefer this uniform over the new Shazam uniform. In my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this uniform ain't broke. Yes, it's old, but that doesn't mean it's broken. It just means it's classic. Yeah, we'll call it classic. But hey, I'm just one guy and these are my thoughts, views, and opinions, and I'd like to know what you think. So please, if you have anything to say at all about this figure, please leave it down in the comment section below. And if you liked this video, found it a useful waste of time in any way, please take the time to bop the like button so I know I'm doing something right. And finally, if you think you'd like to become a super friend and join the DC squad, hit the subscribe button. Remember to ding the bell so that you never miss a video. And I will see you next time with the next one. Have an awesome day, super friends. Take care. Shazam! Created by comic book artist C.C. Beck and writer Bill Parker, back in 1939, Captain Marvel first appeared in Whiz Comics #2 on February of 1940, published by Fawcett Comics. What made Captain Marvel unique is that his alter ego, Billy Batson, was actually that of a young boy, not unlike that of the target audience of the comic books of the day. When saying the magic word, Shazam, lightning comes out of the sky and strikes Billy Batson, and then transforms him into the full adult-size superhero we all know as Captain Marvel, giving him powers very much akin to that of Superman. What young boy wouldn't want those powers? The word Shazam itself is an acronym of the 6 immortal elders. S stands for Solomon and the wisdom thereof, H is for Hercules and all of his mighty strength, A is for Atlas and his seemingly limitless stamina, durability, and healing, Z is for the power of the thunder of Zeus, A again for Achilles and all of his boundless courage, and finally M for Mercury and the channeling of his magnificent godlike superhuman speed. All of these powers together granted to Billy Batson when he says the word Shazam put him on par with other major DC powerhouses such as Superman, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter. In the 1940s, his comic sales did very, very well, often outselling Superman and Batman. The success of the character of Captain Marvel prompted a healthy expansion of the characters in the Marvel family. We saw the creation of Mary Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr., and even a tiger called Tawny, as well as many other characters who would wear the Captain Marvel costume, all of which who were received very well by Captain Marvel fans. Later in 1953, Fawcett stopped publication of any and all Captain Marvel related comics, largely because of a copyright infringement lawsuit from DC Comics. DC Comics felt that Captain Marvel was a copy of Superman, and so from that point on, no Captain Marvel. At least, not of the Shazam variety. Then, in 1972, Carmen Infantino managed to license the entire Marvel family from Fawcett, bringing them back into publication in February of 1973 with Shazam, issue number 1. It was a glorious day indeed for fans of the Big Red Cheese. But with the return of this beloved character, there were certain things that were noticeably missing. For starters, the character could no longer legally use the name Captain Marvel, at least not on its comic covers or its merchandise. In the time between Fawcett and DC's stoppage of the publication of all things Captain Marvel, another character owned by rival comics publisher Marvel Comics had been invented, and the trademark snatched up. Therefore, it would be Marvel Comics who legally was entitled to the use of the name, even though, classically, it belonged to a completely different and more antiquitous character. DC was obviously feeling a little bit burned by this because, up until the release of issue 15 of Shazam, it was subtitled The Original Captain Marvel, before a cease and desist letter showed up at the offices of DC from Marvel, forcing a change. By issue 15, it was retitled as Shazam, the World's Mightiest Mortal. It was a good first series, and not only had newly written stories, but also reprinted old classic ones as well. Since then, Captain Marvel has gone on to star in a few of his own miniseries, such as The Power of Shazam and The Trials of Shazam. By the time of the 2011 DC Comics reboot called The New 52, when DC relaunched their entire lineup of comics, all reference to this character as Captain Marvel had stopped, and he was instead renamed Shazam. This never sat well with me because before, even though he could no longer have his name splashed across the cover as Captain Marvel, he was still routinely referenced as the Captain or Captain Marvel by other DC characters within the pages of the comics. But now, they just abandoned the name altogether in favor of calling him Shazam, which is technically the wizard's name, as well as the acronymical magic word that gives him his powers, from the wizard.